Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Shopify is there to help you grow. Shopify helps you sell everywhere, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, and sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. What I love about Shopify is how no matter how big you want to grow, Shopify gives you everything you need to take control and take your business to the next level. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., and Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Welcome back, everybody. It's a beautiful Monday, December 30th. I was going to say like January or something stupid like that. I'm a little off. I'm a little still on vacation mode, but we're back. Hope everybody had a fantastic Christmas break and Boxing Day, and then got all the great deals and all that, and got New Year's tomorrow night, which should be a lot of fun. Neil,
they never do like a boxing match on Boxing Day. I have an issue with that.
Well, I mean, hey, for Dana White, that would be, that'd be
yeah, but also it's Canadian. Like, how much could he get? How much could he?
Yeah, true.
How much could he make?
And well, here I wanted to, because I figured I showed it up on Twitter already, and I just showed you beforehand. But this was my prized possession. Now that's my little baby. Awesome. Now it's on. So
that's a drawing. Is that drawn?
It is drawn. Yeah, for those of you who can't see, it is from Etsy.
Yeah, you can tell it's Etsy.
It is an Etsy drawing. For those of you who can't see, though, it was a Johnny Gaudreau Etsy drawing, and it's really, really, really
that is really cool.
So, yeah, very, very special. Anything big that you got? Some Zamboni stuff you showed me?
I mean, yeah, no, like the big thing that I got. I mean, I got a lot of sweaters and stuff, which I was happy about, and I got some like regular slippers. Again, I was asking for like really essential things,
right?
Like not gifts per se, but like things that like I know that I would wear or like use.
Yeah.
My one friend Nicole, she gave me this earlier this year. I just never showed it, which is ironic considering that we're gonna have to talk about
Vegas Golden Knights toy train
Zamboni. Yeah, well, she has family that lives in Vegas, so like.
Right.
Her ultimate goal is whenever she goes to like somewhere that has a hockey team, she tries to get something there. And then when her and my other friend went to Seattle, they got me Seattle. And this is an actual like Zamboni, like, and she was telling me that it was hard to find Kraken stuff in Seattle. I'm like, that doesn't make sense, but okay.
I'm not surprised. I saw ticket prices for tonight's game for Seattle, and they were over $100, and they're playing Utah.
They're playing Utah.
Oh, because they have bobblehead night. That's why.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And then I got this, which is probably like the coolest thing that I got. So, okay, but you'll understand why. So you think it's a book, but then watch this.
So it's Harry Potter. It's a Harry Potter. Whoa.
It is the Dr. Squatch. By the way, this is not an ad read, by the way. We are not sponsored by Dr. Squatch yet.
The Dr. Squatch.
Dr. Squatch, Harry Potter soaps, which smell amazing. So like that's really cool.
That's sick.
And I also got myself. Well, I didn't get it myself, but I'll show you. Which you would kind of think I would use it right now, but I'm not. I got this professional Zeal Sound microphone.
That looks like mine. Almost.
I think it's pretty close, but like, do you have a stand for yours?
Mine is Zeal Sound. It's the exact same.
Wait a minute. Do we have the same thing now?
I think that's the exact same thing.
So after the episode, can you like show me how to use
I
this?
absolutely can.
Sweet.
Zeal sound,
So
not
there you go.
sponsored.
Like I said, essential things. Things.
Beautiful.
Well, okay. The Harry Potter thing was not like something that I wanted.
Yeah, but you gotta have fun.
Oh wait, I'll tell you what. I bought myself a present. I'll tell you last one. I
Jeez.
swear.
Here we go.
I swear.
Oh yes, the
Got
New
a
York
New York
Sirens.
Sirens jersey.
Look at
It
that.
was $175.
Ooh, was there a name
Yeah.
on the back?
No, because if
No
I did get a
name.
player in the back, it was over 200. So no.
Wow. Holy crap.
So yeah, but I bought that for myself. That was like my present to myself.
That's a personal present. Nice.
Because it was either that or I was going to get the Blackhawks Winter Classic jersey, which by
Right.
the way is literally tomorrow.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Is this not the one year where like nobody's talking about it?
I think so. I don't think
I
a lot of people
think-
are talking about
I
it.
think most of the hockey world is kind of over.
Well, the Chicklets boys are doing a live show in Chicago. So I think the people who really care about it are probably in Chicago this year.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah.
And
If
look, this is-
listen, if the Leafs hosted the Winter Classic, it'd be all over the news.
yeah, 100%.
Right.
100%. Like I don't know. I just think that they've already done this arena. Sorry,
Yeah,
stadium.
they're at Wrigley, right? They're at Wrigley Field.
Yeah, they've done Wrigley already, and
Yeah.
they've already done this matchup.
Yeah.
Like before.
Who cares?
So like, who gives a shit? Excuse my language, but like, who
cares?
cares?
Who cares?
Like, so I'm hoping, and we're hearing that Florida is going to get an outdoor game.
Well,
It's the Winter Classic. I think it would be funnier if it was.
right.
My guess is play Tampa.
Probably they'll go, but they want to do it in Florida, did they not?
They want to do it in Miami
Oh,
at
how's that
the
gonna work?
Marlins Stadium because it's a retractable roof, so they can remove the. Yeah, it's.
That smells like a disaster.
I'll tell you where what they haven't done. They've done every military academy in the United States but West Point.
Just put Florida up against Washington and go there. Like,
Could do that. So
that's a waste of money, to be honest with me.
yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
I really like
Good haul.
the Blackhawks jersey, by the way, for the Winter Classic. I think it's really
Sick.
cool.
It's,
The Blues one, they ran out of ideas. That was clearly like when I look at it, I'm like, they ran out of ideas.
the Blues jersey is like it encapsulates the Winter Classic, I think, this year.
Yeah,
A little bit.
The reason why I thought last year was cool was because you had two teams who have not been around very long who wouldn't have a classic jersey.
Right.
And it was kind of like, all right, we can do whatever we want. And I thought they did it. I thought they had a home run with Seattle. Like, I thought they had a home run with that.
For sure.
I thought the Heritage jersey for the Flames last year was really good, personally. And so, yeah, it's just, yeah, I'm going to watch it tomorrow. Yeah.
What'll be good is the Stadium Series coming up in a few months.
Yes, between Columbus and Detroit. That'll be
Yes.
interesting.
You know
Really-
what's? Oh, they hit the home run. They hit the nail on that though. Doing it at a college stadium. Oh, perfect.
And especially because you think about it, right? Ohio State versus Michigan, the game. Like,
Oh,
the game
it
every
sets
year.
it up even
And
better.
you got Columbus versus
Detroit.
and then you have and then on top of that, you have two guys on Columbus who went to the University of Michigan,
Yes.
who now have to be the home team playing in that stadium. It's
Man, that's going to be
they hit a home
wild.
run.
They
Well
really
done.
did. Well done.
Well done.
Yeah, that's good. Good Christmas haul. 10 out of 10. I got
Yep.
Golf Town gift cards. Gonna save up for some
Golf
save up for
Town.
some- yeah, Golf Town.
Nice.
For clubs. Yeah, get some clubs. And I got a new hat. So Travis, not Matthew. Mathew.
Okay.
Matthew.
Did you didn't get any new college sweatshirts?
Nope. Not this
Oh.
time. I'm like,
You
I
gotta-
have to stop. I have to stop with that.
No, but this is where you ask other people to get them for you, so that way you feel less guilty about it.
Well, I haven't seen any yet that I'm
Get a Boston
ooh.
College one. Old school Boston College looks nice.
Oh, is that like a burgundy one?
It's like a burgundy one, and
Oh,
it has
that'd
like
be
old
nice.
script writing. It's very I like that. Yeah,
I'm trying to look for colors that like I don't have for that, I
Yeah.
need to mind you, I need to clear out my entire dressing drawer. 'Cause
Oh
I
yeah,
have
my whole thing is just in jerseys.
yeah.
Like,
I have
over here, it's
stuff from,
just
like,
jerseys.
15 years ago that I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? I gotta
Yeah,
do that. Maybe
100%.
that's a weekend project.
That could be. It could be.
Well, it's been a while. It's been a hot minute because we didn't do one last week. Made sense because Christmas and all that fun
Holiday
stuff.
break.
holiday break and all that. Haven't speaking of which, we didn't miss a lot of Flames news from our last episode that I did to today, right? The only thing we really had was that you go all the way back to last week. They beat Chicago. They go to the break. Almost blew the lead against Chicago. We won't get into it. That was so long ago. Then they just finished a little back-to-back, which we will get into. Before we get into Vegas, though, last night, very quick thoughts on the win against San Jose. What's that, on Saturday?
Saturday. Yeah, no, I mean, it was a good win. I felt like the Flames were very much in control of that game. Kind of came out and really, I mean, look, San Jose is a lot better than what they were last year, but at the same time,
I was going to say, Celebrini.
Celebrini's the real deal.
Oh boy, he's the real deal.
He's quietly having a good, I don't feel like Celebrini gets talked about a lot this year, and that's kind of weird.
Look where he is.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But he's doing really well. And I will say this also, Will Smith is very good.
That's such a good dynamic.
William Eklund is becoming very good. Fabian Zetterlund as well. And getting Tyler Toffoli, actually, looking at it now, not bad, actually. It actually is not. It's actually been working really well.
Yeah, and I think, sorry, go ahead.
If I'm not saying, that was Alexander Georgiev's first start in San Jose, I believe.
Askarov started
Askarov, excuse me.
Yes. Askarov started. Yeah, I think real quick for that.
By the way, Askarov we should mention as well is in that group.
I know, right?
That could be a team in 2 years. That could be really a problem.
They're gonna be one of those teams either next year or the year after where everyone's gonna be like, they don't have enough. They're gonna finish at the bottom and they're gonna skyrocket up the standings.
Yeah, because they're gonna get Austin Matthews in free agency.
Oh God, can you?
No, think about it. No. Think the timeline is working out, and then he goes to California. He's closer to where he grew up. I'm just saying.
He's tired of Leaf. He's probably tired of Leafland. No, he's tired of Leafland.
Yeah. No, but think about it. Nobody come on. Leafs fans would not be overly top pissed off if he went to the Sharks.
They'd be pissed that he's gone. Yeah.
Okay. Other than that.
I thought Dustin Wolf played the third period of his life on Saturday. He had to in order to get the win because the Sharks were all over them in the third period. Jonathan Huberdeau, multi-goal scorer there on Saturday night. He has had, I think, 7 goals now in his last 9 games.
Playing really well.
I think they said he's on pace now for 34 goals this year would be an all-time high for him. So it's clearly he's not at the $10.5 million mark. But again, I said it at the beginning of the year where I'm like, okay, at least we're getting something from that, right? Somebody's goddamn scoring on this team, and it's going to be him. So if that's what it's got to be, then great. I think that's fantastic, and I'm glad he's kind of, having some success there at least. And I thought that Dustin Wolf was the guy on Saturday night to keep that team basically in it. So, but yeah, it was a good win. Great way to come off the break. And then we ran into trouble.
Game, I felt like good road game.
Great road game. But again, we played Vegas 2 months ago, whatever it was, lost 5-0. And it was, the funny part was
with starting the first time. Was it Aiden Hill?
In net was Samsonov last night.
No, I'm talking about when we got shut
the one before.
5-0.
Oh God.
Yeah. I don't remember.
It wasn't.
I will tell you this: it wasn't Samsonov because this was Samsonov's first shutout as a Golden Knight.
Yes, it was, and of course it was against the Flames, who can't score. But again, just from last night, it was a competitive game. The scoreboard does not tell me or doesn't tell you the full story.
One of them's an empty net goal, so keep that in mind.
One of them was an empty net goal. They ended up scoring the second goal on a Rasmus Anderson penalty that he took, which he wasn't happy about. I can kind of get it, but at the same time, you were holding his stick yesterday. I don't know if you saw that at all, but
ticky-tacky call at best.
Ticky-tacky.
And believe me, 2 days ago, I saw some really awful officiating.
Which game?
The Timo Meier penalty.
Oh yeah, that's
which
right.
If you haven't seen yet,
I saw that.
I mean, it's egregious.
It was pretty stupid.
Natchez can really fly.
Yeah.
Gets hurt, has to be helped off the ice, yet somehow doesn't miss a shift. That makes sense.
I don't get it. Anyway, for last night, it was 1-0 all the way until the last, 5 minutes of the game. They were in it the entire time. And frankly, you find a way to get some goal scorers on this team, they can easily win this game, right? With Samsonov in net. So I felt it's weird losing 3-0 last night. I still felt positive about this team afterwards. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's a weird feeling like that. Yes, that felt like a game they should have had, but it's like, the Golden Knights have the best record in the NHL right now. They're clearly the best team, but it's like, man, like we were actually really competitive with them for a team considered to be at the bottom of the barrel this year. And, you take away that first game earlier on a couple of months ago, and it's like, wow, like I thought it was very competitive last night. I thought Vladar was the only reason that they were in this game last night, because it could have got
100%.
ugly. He robbed Mark Stone earlier on in the game. So I thought Vladar was great. I thought Jacob Pelletier, I wrote this down. He's a flame for the rest of the season. He's not going down. He's bringing that speed. It's clicking for him a little bit. And I love what I'm starting to see more out of him this year. So, I think like he just brings that speed. He brings that, a little bit of like edgy, ticky-tacky toughness to this team a little bit. So he passes the waiver mark now, by the way. So they can't really, the only reason why they would bring him down now, by the way, is so that you'd have to go through waivers again, which he probably would get picked up. Right.
Yeah.
So it would be a huge mistake if they can't drop him. Right. We'll get into it a bit afterwards with that whole situation, but in particular with this game, just wanted to go show you again, shots are 37-31 here. The biggest story, I think, last night, I'll say it again, I think it was Vladar. On the penalty kill, I mean, you gave them 4. Obviously, you were given 4 as well, too. They couldn't make anything out of it. Much, much better on the face-off draw, though. It's like the first time I've seen them over 50% on the face-off percentage in God knows how long. Everything else felt like you can see it clearly. Like it's very even. Block shots, giveaways, takeaways, hits. Like everything felt very even last night. And, it was unfortunate that you kind of give them a little bit of a penalty at the end, even though you're down 1-0. And, Olsen ends up firing it away and Pearson grabs an empty netter and that's all she wrote. So to kind of just be in this game, though, I thought it was competitive. And I think just seeing afterwards, like Mackenzie Weegar, his tone and the way he was talking after the game was like, yeah, like we were kind of in this game. We just couldn't find a way to find the back of the net, because if you want to look at it like Samsonov was hot, that's one way to look at it, but they still are struggling to find ways to finish and score some goals when they matter the most. Your thoughts after the game last night?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what you were saying. That I felt looking at the game, I felt that the Flames were competitive throughout. Again, it was 1-0 for a long period of time. Like if the Flames had gotten a goal, who knows what could have happened. I think that game was one of those situations where they just ran into a goalie who was on his game that night. I think that's simply where you saw it. I mean, you put up 30 plus shots, and a lot, if you're able to do that on a consistent basis, you're giving yourself a pretty fair shot of winning. There was one play that I saw that kind of brought it all together for me, that like, oh yeah, Samsonov's on his game today. And that was late in the first period. You had Coronado come in with a nice toe drag. He took a really good shot. The rebound came literally right to him in the slot, and he took another good shot. But Samsonov was right there to make both saves.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is going to be tough. This is going to be tough tonight. And what I just liked is that regardless of how frustrating it might have been for the Flames, that they kept pushing. They kept trying to create opportunities. Connor Zary had a partial breakaway, and I thought he was going to get one past him through the 5-hole. Gets denied. There was another play where I forgot who it was, but they had a shot from the point. I think Mackenzie Weegar took a shot from the point where you had 2 guys in front. There was a scramble in front of the crease. And again, I'm thinking, okay, dirty goal here. They're going to tie it. Nope. Gets shut down. And I think that it's just unfortunate. And I would say that, and we've talked about it ad nauseum throughout the year, but the power play is still very much an issue. I mean, you had 4 chances. I know Vegas didn't only score on one of their 4 chances, but you had 4 opportunities to get yourself going and you couldn't get it going. That I just find there to be an issue on the power play where I don't think it's as aggressive as it should be.
It's been better as of recent because they did score on Saturday on the power play, but I agree 100%. Like you're 0 for 4 again tonight. And, frankly, like if for whatever happens out of the realm of possibility that this team makes the playoffs, you're probably going to run into a team like Vegas, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And you can't, like, you're given 4 really good chances here, and you kind of just let that go.
You have to take advantage of the opportunities when you're
You do.
presented. And if you
100
don't, it's going to come back to hurt you, and it did.
100%. It absolutely did. And
You can't really get angry about losing a game like this. You
not
can't, like,
really.
Like, we're not going to sit here and go into a full-fledged rant and be like,
No.
this is BS, like, to get shut out. No, it happens. It
happens.
happens. You're going to run through. You're going to have games where the puck just doesn't bounce your way. And one bounce here, one bounce there.
Yeah, they're definitely walking away from that game yesterday going, like, you know, it happens, right? I thought, and Huska mentioned it too, like, he's not bringing the guys down. He was just like, no, we played a good game, just didn't find a way to get behind the net or in the net. And, you know, Samsonov was a big part of that last night. You mentioned it, though, with Coronado, though, in your tangent. I just think of it more and more now. That guy needs to play with a playmaker, with another goal scorer, because I know, like, there's some weird feeling where I know he can find that next level, right? He just needs to be put in a better situation rather than with Backlund and Coleman or Sharangovich and Coleman. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not it. He needs to find somebody. And I think they realize it too. Like, if they want this to be the long-term plan here, that he needs to play beside somebody who they have to A, find that chemistry, right? And B, create those plays and make them happen, right? Because I think there's untapped potential still there for him. I think there's more to give, right? So yeah, I mean, other than that, I thought it was still a good game, but you know, those things kind of happen. Now, let me put you in a hypothetical for a second. Okay, you're the general manager, okay, of this team. Kuzmenko's back. Okay, he was a non-factor last night. He had 1 hit, no shots on goal. Okay, there are 600 NHLers around who have scored.
I saw this in your script. I read this stat. Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
Who have scored at least 1 even strength goal this season. Kuzmenko was not one of them. Over 600 NHLers have scored an even strength goal, and he hasn't yet. If you're the general manager, the deadline's coming up, and you probably can't. You at this point, after reading that, you're not trading him for anything higher than a, I don't know, 5th.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I think you cut your losses. That's my personal opinion. I think that there were a lot of expectations going into the year with Kuzmenko being on a contract year. He's described as a goal scorer. That's kind of what people that was kind of the description that we got when we acquired him in the first place. And I think that whether it's because of the system, whether it's the players around him, whether it's just him himself, it hasn't clicked. You know, you mentioned that his 1 lone goal came on the power play. So he has 1 goal and 10 points in 29 games played this year. He has been up and down the lineup. There have been games where he was on the 4th line. There were games where he was in the 1st line. I mean, and it just hasn't clicked. And I think that it would be better for both parties if the Flames moved them at the deadline, because I think that Kuzmenko could still be effective as a bottom 6, maybe depth scoring kind of guy.
Right.
But at the same time, he's not even showing that.
Right.
Because it would be one thing if last night he had that 1 hit, but also had like 4 or 5 shots. Because then you could say, all right, well, I mean, at least he was, you know, trying to score and he was trying to. I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing him kind of just like, I don't know how to describe it. He's just kind of there a lot of the time. Like, he's there, but he's not like in the game. Like, he's just kind of going with the flow and not really changing anything.
This is one of those cases where I still think he's a good player, right? It doesn't diminish the fact that, like, he played very good with the Canucks. He's played very good, in the KHL. And he's great. He is a good player. He just doesn't fit with this team. He doesn't. Right? I think that's got to be the realization at this point. The guy doesn't fit the team. You got 600 other NHLers at this point in the year who have scored an even strength goal. The guy hasn't done it yet.
Right.
Right? So it's like, is it more? It's definitely him, but I don't think that, you're putting him with Kadri and Huberdeau. You've tried kind of everything, and I've come to the realization where I agree. Cut your losses, man. I think they got more. The value that they got at that Lindholm trade, the fact that they got that first round pick, the fourth, they traded 2 picks, whatever, they got more than they could have asked for, right? And the reason they got Kuzmenko was because it was an experiment, because they wanted to see if we just brought him into a new environment, that would it work? And it hasn't. And
it has not.
You're not losing much, to be honest, right? And he's probably, I hate to say this, he's probably going to go into free agency like an Anthony Mantha, right?
Yeah,
you're probably taking a lot of young kids at this point over Kuzmenko, right?
Yeah.
And that's tough to say because this is a guy who was a 40-goal scorer, right? And I know he can be good on a different team. He's just not, he doesn't fit this team for whatever reason, right?
Yeah.
And I think you have to cut your losses, even if it means like, I think they find a way to deal him at the deadline, but they probably would go to a playoff team and be like, we're not going to get much out of him. Like a low draft pick. Like at least at that point, you can get something, right? I think you do trade him. I don't think you can just like ride until the end of the season, right? The whole plan, I think at this point now, is you have to trade him. And if you get a 5th or a 6th out of this, great.
Yeah.
Like that's just how it is, right? And that's what you're going to get from it. And I don't think anybody would have a problem with it.
Right. I was, like scrolling through Twitter earlier, like looking at just like what people, people's thoughts on Kuzmenko, and Salim Nadim Vali, if I said that correctly, who's a reporter for the Calgary Bureau on TSN Sports. He tweeted this out last night, like after the game. It was a 2-parter, so he had like a thread. He goes, of all the Flame stats during this good season so far, Andrei Kuzmenko going 5 straight games with not a single shot on goal might be the most surprising. Thought there was real opportunity for him tonight, but he continues to play his way out of the lineup. Andrei Kuzmenko's 9 minutes and 49 seconds on ice tonight was the 3rd lowest of his 182 game career. And, Nadim finishes with this sentence. He's refused to shoot the puck. And it's like, it's crazy. And I just, to me, it's clearly obvious that I think from a morale standpoint, like a vibe standpoint,
right,
that Kuzmenko doesn't want to be there anymore. I think he's checked out, honestly, and because you would think that he would be trying to get going, but like I said, and like you said, maybe it's just the fit it just doesn't work.
I think he wants, like, he better want to be there. Right? This is your career, man. Your career is essentially on the line. It might be on life support come this offseason, right?
Sure.
You better want to be there. So, I get it. I
agree.
Think,
I agree.
I agree in the sense that, like, okay, you're right. Maybe he doesn't want to be there. It's not his preferred destination. Nobody's preferred. I'm sure for Austin Matthews, he didn't prefer to be in Toronto. I'm sure if Arizona was still there, he'd be in Arizona, right? You think McDavid's first option was Edmonton? Right? Well, guess what? You don't get that luxury, right? That early on, right? And where Kuzmenko is in his shoes right now, guess what? With the way that your career is panned out, you don't get that luxury, right? I would argue that they are better, and I think it's been shown that he is better off the ice rather than on with this team. I would take Peltier over him. I would take Coronado over him. Hell, I would take Walker Duehr over him right now. It's the man, 5 straight games and he hasn't had a shot on net. What are you doing?
Yeah,
that's more shocking than him not scoring a goal.
Yeah, that's really shocking.
That's more shocking than him not having an even strength goal in the last.
Because to me, it's like he's allergic to shooting the puck, and it's like, I don't get it.
Okay, so play me this. If you stick him on Washington You put him on the right side of Ovechkin.
Mhm.
Does that make him a better player?
Probably,
I think so.
because
I
again,
think.
it's
Go ahead.
like, look at who he's playing with. There's
I
guys who are
yeah.
just a product of who they play with.
Yeah. I think he'd
So
be a great player in Washington for some reason. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I think there is value with him, right?
mhm,
And you're right. I don't think he fits this team.
yeah.
He's not going to be here much
He
longer.
doesn't.
He doesn't fit with this team. And at this point, you got to get something out of him, right? Whether it be a
Yeah,
7th, 6th, 5th, whatever, right? Because you can't just cut him loose, at the end of the year. The problem is that you have to find somebody that wants him on their roster, right?
yeah,
And if Vegas starts their bullshit again of guys going on injured reserve, then maybe that's where he goes, right?
yeah.
But I mean, the problem is going to be who's going to take him, right? So, I'm sure that at some point Conroy's going to be working the phone saying, "You guys want him for free, basically?"
Yeah, so essentially for free. And I think
That's a
that
tough sell.
I think that that's going to be the plan, because unless Kuzmenko gets on a roll in these next couple of weeks, which, history has shown that it
Yeah,
doesn't seem to be the case, I think that it would be better for the Flames to try to get something for him. And look, it's not a guarantee that you're going to get any offers for him.
right.
Nobody, you know, but if you can get something for him as opposed to just keeping him around and then probably playing him every other game, I think you got to do that. There are teams out there that certainly will be looking for some form of depth scoring.
Right.
I'll mention New Jersey as one of them. I mean, I haven't heard anything with that, but I mean, they have a relationship already. So there is
Yep,
that.
for sure.
There's going to be other teams out there. Maybe a Tampa Bay looks for somebody like that. We know Tampa Bay to be, let's get a fourth liner that everybody thinks is a fucking mistake.
Right.
And then he turns into Brandon Hagel. I mean, so it's, I'm not saying Kuzmenko is going to be that,
Sure.
but I'm just saying that, like, expect teams, like, because they may still bank on, like, he's still fairly young. We know that in the past he has shown to score at a pretty solid rate, both in the NHL and the KHL. It can't
Yeah.
hurt to give up a pick that we may not even use anyway, that we don't care about, to
Right.
acquire that. But I think if you're Craig Conroy, you got to start feeling out and seeing what the feeling is around the league in terms of a guy like Kuzmenko.
The problem is if also too, like, last thing before we move on, if you do trade him for like a 5th or a 6th, what if all of a sudden he turns around and has a great last stretch going to the playoffs?
Well, you can't
Makes you
really
feel silly,
fault the
right?
Flames then.
You can't.
The reason
You
why
can't.
I say that is because it's the classic thing for me to say, if it ends up working out somewhere else, you can say it just wasn't going to happen here.
Right.
Like, that's how I look at it with, like, players in general, right?
Sure.
Like, I can't think of one specific off the top of my head, but, like, I'm sure that there have been times in this league where a guy, it didn't work out wherever he was. He goes to another team and everything just clicks. And then, yeah, the fans of his original team are like, "Oh, we shouldn't have gotten rid of him." And it's like, well,
Yeah.
he wasn't performing, and maybe he just needed to go somewhere else to find his footing. And that's how it can go sometimes.
And man, the vibes aren't even that bad
No,
in Calgary, right? Like, the vibes, if anything, have turned around 180 and it's great and everyone's all hunky dory, right? But that's just all it is, right?
it's like the one downside is like, well, look at this guy.
It's the one thing, right?
Yeah.
I think it'll be very curious to watch what happens in the next few months with him. It should be interesting
agree.
to see, right? It'll be, because that might be the one move that Conroy makes, and that's about it. But
And I
who
don't
knows,
think people
right?
would be mad if that's the only thing he does, because the Flames, I don't feel, are in a position to buy anything.
Oh, they're not buying.
crazy.
No, hell no. They're gonna free
Well,
up
I
more
mean,
cap.
I don't know if they still want to get a center depth. I don't know if they're still in the hunt for another center.
Here's last crazy scenario here. Okay,
Because we talked about it. We've
Well,
talked
hear me out.
about it throughout the year.
I don't know if Buffalo does this, right? Because Dylan
You
Cousins' name
mentioned
has
Dylan
been.
Cousins.
Well, okay, just as a scenario here, just hear me out, right?
Okay.
Because
Okay,
that's
I'll play along.
okay. That's the player they're looking for, right? is it possible that they find a way to deal Kuzmenko out because he's holding $5.5 million?
Right.
Is it possible that they sell him just to clear up space in order to acquire somebody like a Dylan Cousins who might have $6 to $7 million and a long-term plan?
Yeah. I think that you could do that.
Will they? Probably not.
I don't know if they will, though. I don't know what Buffalo's thinking process is right now, quite frankly.
It would be like,
because it's a disaster in Buffalo right now.
So beat them while you're down, man. That's what I'm thinking. It's eat or get eaten here, right? I now that I say that, I don't think
they would have to eat it. I don't even think the Flames would have to eat part of his salary. I think the Sabres could just take it in full.
Not even just the Sabres, but if that's the other issue too. If you're going to sell Kuzmenko, by the way, he's got $5.5 million in cap space.
Especially if you're selling him to a contending team,
right?
You're gonna have to eat. You're gonna have to eat,
which
I feel like the Flames would if they could get a decent return.
And I mean, look, if it continues to spiral out of control for Buffalo and Detroit, who fired Derek Lalonde, and and the Rangers, whatever.
Can you imagine?
Right? At some point, you got to start working the phones here, man. I'm very, the way that some of these teams are starting to fall apart is going to be very interesting for the Flames and what Conroy does going forward. Yeah. It makes it interesting because I don't think a lot of people were expecting the Rangers to fall off like they have. So anyway, that's a whole conversation for another day. I figure we'll get into some ads real quick. We'll get into tomorrow night, and then we'll get into some a big World Junior game happening on New Year's Eve. Let's do it. It's the most wonderful time of the year, and for getting in on all of the hoops, football, and hockey action at DraftKings Sportsbook. In the season of giving, we're often being asked, well, hey, if we're gifted with college football and basketball and football and basketball and hockey too, what makes you not want to watch all this 24/7? Well, here it is. It's a gift that keeps on giving. And for new customers at DraftKings Sportsbook, you bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly if your bet wins. You can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. Let's go THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. When you bet just $5. Happy holidays from DraftKings and THPN. The crown is yours. Also sponsored by Game Time. It's almost a new time of year. Hopefully you had a good holidays and good Christmas. Maybe bought some friends, relatives, a nice pair of tickets to a game, maybe a new concert coming up. And if you did, hopefully you did it through Game Time. It's all in this new feature that Game Time has shown. I know, right? It's all through this new feature called Game Time Picks. Game Time Picks allows you to filter out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Game Time Picks allows you to also curate it to make it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Its all-in pricing feature allows you to show the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. You get a panoramic view of your seats in the app before you buy, and you get the lowest price guaranteed, where Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. The Game Time ticket coverage also allows you to have the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. You can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app now and create an account. Use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And again, create an account, redeem code THPN for $20 off. To download Game Time today. What time is it?
It's game time.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. So you did mention a great thing before we jumped on today about two Canucks players who will not be in the lineup tomorrow night. So I'll let you explain.
Yeah, so Quinn Hughes is out week to week with a lower body injury he suffered in the loss to the Seattle Kraken. And then according to Rick Tocchet earlier this morning at practice, Pettersson will be out another week. So no Pettersson and no Quinn Hughes now against the Flames tomorrow. And it should also be mentioned that the Canucks are coming off one of the biggest collapses of the year, up 4-1 on Seattle in the third period. And the Kraken proceeded to not only tie it, but win it in overtime to take that one 5-4. And I have to be very honest with you. If the Flames don't get at least one goal tomorrow, I will be stunned because the Canucks defense, especially when Quinn got hurt,
Oh,
like collapsed ridiculously.
Quinn Hughes not being in the lineup, and I think they said it before on Hockey Night in Canada here.
Mm-hmm.
Quinn Hughes not in that lineup, it's an entirely different Canucks team. It's not even close.
They're actually very bad when he's not playing. It's
They're
shocking.
not good. Quinn Hughes needs to be on this team for this Canucks team to be good. How scary is that?
That's insane.
You need
As a
one
defenseman.
guy, right? Like to
One
be
guy.
there, right?
Right.
It doesn't help that Pettersson's not going to be available tomorrow night for Calgary, right? In terms of looking at the standings, more or less, this is a massive game tomorrow night.
It's
And
huge.
for them to not, be in the lineup for tomorrow night,
It's huge.
it's a huge game tomorrow night, right? And the
Go win
standings,
the game. Go win the game. I don't care.
Dustin Wolf has to
tomorrow
start
feels
night.
like a no excuses type of thing for me.
And it
Look at
shows.
that.
Like,
Look at that.
it is like, look, on the grand scheme of things, okay, you win this game tomorrow, you go up by a point, right?
I hate that the Kings are still like in second place. It just
It
bugs me.
pisses me off too. I know.
It's
But
just because their goaltending is so bad. Like they shouldn't be in second place in the
they're
division.
scoring at a rapid rate. Kempe has been unbelievable.
Kempe's been great. Byfield has started to get better.
Byfield's good. Yeah. But I mean, anyway, regardless,
Kopitar.
with tomorrow, Dylan mentioned it before. I was talking to him earlier today, and I mentioned, I was like, hey, do you think they're still having problems with like the whole Miller Pettersson bull crap? And he goes, oh, hell yeah, there is. Like, not even a debate.
Mhm.
Right? Because you had, and this is old news, but you've had Pettersson, this, it's not a big deal. And then Quinn Hughes comes out and says, well, we're trying to work around it. Well, which is it? Right? Like, are you guys having a problem or are you not having a problem? Right?
It's somewhere in the middle. Yeah.
Sure. Somewhere in the middle. So, and what better way to get advice from the Canucks rather than for a Canucks fan than Dylan, right? So there is a problem in the locker room, and it's the perfect time to pounce for the Flames, right? Because think about it like this. If for some reason the Flames win tomorrow night, flat out, in regulation, they dominate, right? And they go up, and the Canucks are now out of a playoff spot. What do you think the media outlets are going to do in Vancouver tomorrow? Well, Wednesday. They're going to make this a huge deal, right?
They're going to make it
because now that Quinn Hughes is out for, you said week to week, correct?
Week to week.
Week to week.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's massive. Look at their home record. They're a 500 team at home.
Yeah.
And I get your road record and all that. Also, by the way, Flames 12-4-3 at home this year.
That checks out.
That's pretty good. Even like on the road now, you're 5-8-4. That's like, okay, yeah, that's bad, but it could be worse. Right?
It could be worse. Yeah, it could be a lot worse.
So anyway, yeah, like, this is a perfect opportunity to end the year and just shut them up, basically, because you beat Vancouver earlier on this year. I think this is the last meeting of the season between these two, unless there's one more in Calgary, because they've played in Vancouver twice already, right? The one at the beginning of the year, and then, they lost to them, I think it was like a month ago. But to not, I think it's a bigger deal to not have Hughes there, even Pettersson alone, right? Because, and I'll let you take over after, Quinn Hughes is the quarterback for this team. He runs everything. He's got so many goddamn points for this team.
Sake.
He's the captain. He's the catalyst. He's everything for this team. And he is the guy, right? He is the Tom Brady of the Vancouver Canucks without the GOAT conversation.
Patrick Mahomes.
He is the Patrick Mahomes this year. If we're talking football, he is carrying this goddamn team to where they're at, right?
Yeah.
And I think we're going to really see how this Canucks team is now without your captain for 2 weeks. That's huge.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think this is one of those games where it's setting up where, like, okay, the Flames should get this done. You're facing a depleted Canucks team who's coming off of a really bad loss.
Terrible loss.
Like, they got a point. Yeah, great. But, like, you blew a 3-goal lead in the third period. And I think that the Flames have to come in and first and foremost, they can only go up from here, right? When you come off of getting shut out, all you could do is either stay, like get shut out again, or you score at least a goal. That's
Well,
like
they're
the
good at
beauty.
home too. Like they're not
True.
like it's good
So
that they're at home for this one.
right. But I think that for the Flames, you're coming off of what I consider to be a pretty strong performance despite not scoring against Vegas.
Right.
And like you said, this is a big game because you can go into the calendar year of 2025 with momentum. You could be
You
like,
would go into next year
in theory,
in a playoff spot.
yeah.
That's
And
crazy.
I think, and when you want to do that, when you want to celebrate the new year by being in a playoff spot in a year where none of us thought that we would be in this position in the first place.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So I think the big thing this is where I think like Dustin Wolf, is surprising as it's not surprising as this is, should start tomorrow.
Right.
Like 100%. And I would keep the lines fairly the same. I don't really feel like you have to change much. Maybe
I don't
just
think
not,
so.
Maybe just not play Kuzmenko.
Well, I think you can't play him the rest of the year.
Yeah.
After all the whole tangent now, come on. You haven't had a shot on goal in 5 games. You're hurting this team more than helping it. So sit out. I don't care.
Agree.
The whole cap space thing too, like after talking about it, like whatever. It's $5 million. They already have $25 million saved up,
And it'll be off the books after the year anyway.
Exactly.
So it's fine. Like if we're at a point in the season where our biggest complaint is a dude that probably won't be on the team next year,
right?
I don't really see that as a bad thing. Like you were talking about, the vibes are way higher than I think we thought they would be at this point.
It's crazy.
This is a
really
big game. I think that Huska's gotta channel that and say like, look, like explain, like say it like the way we're saying it right now. It's like, go into this game. You have a chance to jump them in the standings. You have a chance to get into a wild card spot, be in the playoffs. Like you're going into January 1st, you are a playoff team.
This will feel like a playoff game tomorrow.
100%.
Yeah, this will definitely feel like it.
Treat it like
right?
it. And play it like it.
Treat it and play it like it. Exactly.
Score a goal. Let's start there. I want to start very simple. Find a goal.
When
I don't care
everybody else too, when everybody else too was saying after their hot start to start the year and how they were in a spot and all that, it's like, okay, well, they're gonna die out halfway through the year.
They haven't died out.
It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. They've just been like level. They've just kind of been like there. Just kind of interesting.
It's gonna be interesting to see, like, hey, you got to take it month by month, right? And just see how it goes. But again, urgency has to be there tomorrow. You have to treat this like a playoff game because you can really knock them down a pedestal here. If they're out with Quinn Hughes for a while, man, you got to treat this like, this is a really good stretch here, right?
Yep.
To do some damage, right? Because you have the team that you can jump, right? And even just looking, just kind of looking ahead, we'll kind of do it in the next episode where we'll look at the month of January and just kind of see where this team, like what the schedule is for this team, right? But like if we're talking about the next 3-4 games, give or take, with this team, you got the Canucks tomorrow night, you got Utah coming to town, and you got Nashville on Saturday.
Yeah.
Right? Like those are winnable games. You got the Ducks next week, and then you have to back-to-back against the Kings. You have 2 games against the Kings next week. That's huge. This is in terms of a playoff position, I think this is the biggest stretch of the season for them.
I agree.
You got, what did I say? 5 games there. I think these next 5 games will really dictate this team now. Right? You want to chase the Kings. You got a chance to leap the Canucks. You want to get rid of Utah because they're still kind of on the heels a little bit. Yep. And Nashville is Nashville.
Nashville is Nashville.
So
you might get a good game from them. You might not.
You got 5 games coming up. And I think Nashville's pissed off that they lost to Calgary earlier on in Nashville this year. But these next 3 games, you're at home.
This is the perfect time to get it going.
So we'll see what happens.
Maybe by the time next week comes around, we're in a really good mood. or not. Well, the last time we thought we were going to be in a good mood, a week later we were depressed because of the road trip that didn't go well at the end of November.
Knock on wood, right? We'll have to see.
Start tomorrow. Just start tomorrow. All you got to do is focus on tomorrow.
We'll
Figure
see.
it out.
So to finish up for today, big game tomorrow night, World Juniors. If you've been following along here, I have my ass off when Canada lost to Latvia, and you know who else was? Zane Perek, who was also laughing his ass off when Canada lost to Latvia. A lot of the snubs.
I was not laughing my ass off when the U.S. lost to Finland in overtime. I was not laughing my ass off.
No, because the U.S. had a clear path to the number 1 spot in Group A, and now they've just opened the door. So
that's what makes tomorrow fun.
It makes it a lot.
I will say that's what makes tomorrow fun, personally.
It'll make it so much fun. I expect the U.S. to win the game tomorrow. I don't have faith in this Canadian team. You literally, if you look at history, right? The way they spank Latvia, the way they spank Germany, it's because you're goal scorers and nobody's scoring on this team for Canada.
Yeah, Latvia came in on such a high. It just got to kicked out of it. That was the best part. The best part was everybody was expecting another close game between Latvia and the United States. And the U.S. said, yeah, no, that's not happening. It's
just give us a second. Funny.
I was like, well, I was like, even as an American, I was a little bit disappointed it wasn't like the Canada game. I was kind of hoping for it. Just because I love chaos.
We love it. Oh, it's so good for the World Juniors. It's fantastic. Everything about it. I loved.
Player of the tournament is Leonard's front.
That was Latvia's gold medal right
Feldberg's.
There. That was
Feldberg's is my hero.
Feldberg's who plays in the Quebec League. Sensational. He was unbelievable.
He is 19. He's still not drafted.
He's so good.
Somebody better draft him. I'm not kidding.
He was so good on Saturday.
I forgot if he started against the U.S.
I believe he did.
Yeah,
I think he did.
Terrible.
Yeah,
he was terrible.
But I mean, they were coming off. He was coming off a back-to-back where he literally faced 60 shots. Can you blame the guy?
True. No, I can't.
So, anyway, tomorrow night, big game. I expect the U.S. to win because I don't believe Canada can score. All the snubs that were left off the roster this year. I think somebody at some point they were retweeting stuff, they were liking stuff, and they were having a field day with it.
Wasn't it ironic that Sinek scored a really sick, I think it was a shootout goal or a goal in general, the same day that Canada had that game against Latvia?
It's so funny. It's such a big game tomorrow because the loser, if Finland does their job, and I think they play Latvia to end their group stage.
Mm-hmm.
So they should take care of business.
Who knows what Latvia team we're getting?
I don't know, man.
Finland.
So if Finland takes care of business, the loser of Canada USA will finish third in the group. And we'll have to play either Czechia or Sweden, which is no easy task because Czechia can score everywhere.
Czechia can shock you. Look what they did to Canada last year.
Oh, if Czechia plays Canada in the quarters this year, I'm taking Czechia. There's no way Canada wins
and
that
if it's
game.
USA versus Sweden, I'm going to take Sweden because I think they're going to be pissed from last year. No, I'm serious. I think they're going to be pissed.
Now, all of a sudden, with USA losing and with Canada losing, it makes the quarterfinals that much more good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It
so,
does.
any predictions tomorrow night? Should be a good one.
I think the biggest thing for me is just going to be I want to see how the first 10 minutes goes because like I said, they're both coming off of being upset in one degree or another. So they're both in a position that I don't think they expected to be in going into this game. It'd be really fascinating.
It's going to be so fascinating.
I lean towards the United States from a bias standpoint, and also just the fact that I think the United States
not even on a bias standpoint. I think the U.S. are just flat out a better team.
Yeah. And I think that they want to redeem themselves from the Finland loss.
Sure.
Because I don't think they want to. I think that they don't want to have teams have doubt that this is not a good team. I think that it'll be something. And Hagen's been. Yeah, somebody's going to be really happy to draft that kid.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
The last time, this was crazy. I saw this. Someone did a scouting report on him and said that he was very shifty, and did things that nobody else can do.
Right.
The last guy to be described that way specifically was Jack Hughes in 2019.
Right.
I'm not saying that's who Higgins is going to be, although I'm sure whoever gets him would take it.
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe Nashville doesn't mind losing as much.
It makes the draft class. It's going to make it interesting by the end of the tournament because you're wondering who's going to stand
I
out.
swear to God.
I
swear to God, he's going to end up in Montreal. I swear.
I don't think it is going to be though. I don't think it is.
Where do you think? Like at this point, where would you see it? The Rangers.
Well, who's projected right now? I actually don't even know who's projected
I don't
number
even
one
know.
because they keep talking about this stupid Gavin
Not even
McKenna
Columbus
kid.
because they're not even the worst team in their own division.
Right. Well, they keep talking
Yo,
about
if Columbus finishes, by the way, above anyone in the Metro, that's a win in their book.
Oh, for sure.
That's
100%.
a win.
100%.
I'd be pumped
Yeah,
with
I
that.
couldn't tell you. I think it's wide open this year.
I can tell you. Right now, it's oh my God,
Canadian?
Chicago. Oh my God, not here for that.
Oh no, I was saying like who's projected number one.
Chicago.
No, like for the prospects.
Yeah. I forgot the name of the dude.
Yeah, I got it. Hold on, NHL.
Yeah, we're really in a
like. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, you know what? James Higgins.
James Higgins. That's what I'm saying.
Is projected number one.
Y'all, if he goes to Chicago, it's rigged. It's so unbelievably, disturbingly rigged. It's not even funny.
So, Matthew Schaefer is number two. Who is
Schaefer? Yes, thank you. Yeah,
Matthew Schaefer.
Where is Schaefer currently playing at?
He plays for the Erie Otters.
That's what I thought. He plays in Erie.
Rybikin from Russia, Frondell from Sweden, and then Porter Martone, a Canadian fifth. Malcolm Spence. I mean, Michael Misa, by the way, too. Whoo, boy. He's
really
he's
good.
Projected top 10. What's crazy is like this is not a strong draft class this year.
No.
And that's kind of good for some of those teams who aren't in the bottom 10, right? Good. I think James Higgins, by the end of the tournament, he'll probably be the number one prospect.
Yeah,
speaking of prospects, I did want to bring up one last thing because I did just kind of have it on my radar last minute. The Flames posted this yesterday about Henry Muse, and I just thought this was pretty neat. Henry Muse, he currently has been having an unbelievable season with the Ottawa 67s.
Doing phenomenally.
He is now leading in all of OHL defensemen in scoring. You know who did that last year? Zane Parekh. So really good to see. Really happy to see that he's having a sensational year. And I think Flames fans are really, really excited about this kid.
Yeah, he's really, really talented. Also might be one of the skinniest defensemen I've ever seen in my life.
That's okay though.
No, he's really skinny. Right, we love the thin.
I couldn't break 120 pounds throughout all of high school and almost into university.
Fair enough.
So,
yeah,
sometimes
but no, it's good. It's good to see. It's good to see the pipeline getting better, especially in the OHL. And like, yeah, he's having a really good year, and I'm excited to see. I'd expect to see him at development camp next year. I would think
he came from the Lindholm trade too. By the way.
We need to get Steve Dangle.
Where's the trade tree?
What's the trade? Yeah, just throw out the trade tree for Lindholm. I did want to go back to the Golden Knights game really quickly.
Sure.
I may have misheard it, but I could have sworn that I was told that was the first time that Mark Stone had played against the Flames in about 3 years.
Yeah, because
he was out with several injuries.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because he's been
which I thought was crazy for like a second.
Right.
But then I was like, well, he's also been on like IR for like 3/4 of the last couple of years.
Right.
So I was like, damn, it's been that long?
I know. Any other NHL news to break before we jump off today?
We have that Dallas Stars thing going on.
Yeah, so the Dallas Stars, they got fined $100,000 because they held an optional skate on December 26th when you were not supposed to. Stupid. Idiots.
What?
Also, I do have news. Jonathan Toews talks potential return, going to give it my best shot. So Jonathan Tays has been out for
Colorado.
about more than a year. He still isn't ready to come back. He still is not ready yet, but he isn't ready to close the book on his NHL career. I haven't spoken about this to a lot of people. This is a quote from him. Haven't spoken about this to a lot of people, but it's definitely still in there. I've talked to a lot of the guys that are done, and a lot of them will say that desire to be on the ice competing and to be in the locker room with the guys never goes away. It's just something that you have to accept when your time comes. So there's that. But at the same time, I think there's a big part of me that really wants to give it my all to get back in the ice and see where it takes me.
I think the big thing for Tays is that I just don't think he wants to end his career with something like.
He didn't want to end it like that.
No.
And I totally agree.
I respect it. 100%.
I respect it too. And I'm curious to see where he ends up. Because it was an
injury, correct?
It was. And I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up.
He was dealing with COVID.
I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up back in Chicago because I think his contract is over.
Yeah, now it's done.
He's a free agent, right? But it was because of due to injury. So it's going to be very interesting to see. Quick notes before we end it today too. Crosby passes Mario Lemieux for Penguins assists record. Congratulations to him. Red Wings doubled up on the Capitals for McLean's first win since the Derek Lalonde firing.
And it should be mentioned also that Ovechkin has come back and he has already scored in his first 2 games since coming back from injury.
25
the
away.
The chase is back on, people.
It's back on, folks.
I don't see it happening now. Not this year.
It'll happen.
Not this year, though.
Yeah, that's fine.
He's 20. No, I'm saying it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I think for anybody who thought it was going to be this year, I think with him being out for the period that he was,
right,
he'd have to have at least 3 or 4 games where he scores a hat trick. I'm being serious. For me to believe there's a legitimate shot.
How many goals does he have right now?
He's 25 away currently.
Do you know how many he has right now?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
11?
Well,
he was leading the league in goals when he got hurt, mind you.
I can kind of see a scenario where he gets it because they've been really good this year. I think
give him all the credit in the world if he gets it done now. If he gets it done now, good on him. But
the problem that people are forgetting about is that there's such a big break in February because of the Four Nations tournament.
And that could be good for him.
It could be good for him, but it also means that you're taking away a couple of more days, week and a half.
So Ovechkin has 17 goals, which leads the Capitals.
Yeah, so I think he'll get to 10 by the end of the season. And then the start of next year, he'll
start next year will be but you know what'll be good about that as well is that it gives the NHL time to prepare.
Oh my God, they're going to market the crap out of that.
That's what I'm saying. It might be tough this year just because it doesn't feel like a guarantee that he's going to get it now.
Yeah.
Because also the other thing is this. You went into this year thinking, not saying you specifically, but just in general, we're thinking, okay, the Capitals are not going to be that good. The main focus is going to be, can Ovechkin get the record? Once again, the script has been flipped because now the Capitals have 50 points and are second place in the Metro and second in the Eastern Conference. They did most of this without Ovechkin in the lineup.
Yeah.
What the hell is happening? And they have mediocre goaltending. I'm being very generous when I say this. Them having Lindgren, and I don't even know who their backup is. I'm being very honest.
Logan Thompson's taking the reins.
Logan Thompson.
Yeah.
And it's not. Team, people are saying, eventually they're going to teeter off. I don't think so.
They won't teeter off, but I would find it hard to believe that they're going to get exposed in the playoffs. If they match up with the Devils,
their underlying numbers confuse me.
Yeah.
They're getting dominated in a lot of games. It's not like it's
100%.
It's reminiscent of the Rangers 2 years ago.
Right.
Where they were winning all these games while getting outshot like crazy.
Just might as well show it here because we're already talking about it, but I'll show you the East standings here as of today.
Look at this.
They're a plus 30. Look at them. They're scoring.
They're plus 37.
That's the most in the NHL.
And you know what's nuts, Kyle? They have only been to overtime or shootout twice.
Because they don't need it because they've been scoring and beating the crap out of everybody.
It's insane.
So Toronto's still up there with Florida. Boston 2 points behind Toronto as well there. New Jersey
Yes.
leads it by 1 point over Washington. Carolina kind of hanging around there a little bit. Tampa sits at 42. The Ottawa Senators, believe it or not, are 6 points back of first place in the Atlantic Division.
You know what? I think it's true. I think the Senators just need goaltending, and then they were fine.
And I think once Allmark's back and good to go,
Did he get hurt again?
well, I think he was hurt recently, but
He was hurt,
wasn't
and
in last night.
that's why I felt the Senators were struggling because Olmark was not playing.
They-
Then he comes back and they're flying again.
They beat Minnesota last night.
Was it in Minnesota or was it
In
Ottawa?
Minnesota. In Minnesota, in
that's a big
regulation, they
win.
beat Minnesota. That's a huge
Although
win.
Minnesota's kind of been losing steam of late, I will say.
That's got to be a division to talk about more. You got the Leafs at 46, the Panthers at 46. I can't show it because I'd rather show wild card here. 44 for the Bruins, 42 for the Lightning, 40 for the Sens.
How about the Lightning just not make the playoffs?
Lightning can go away.
They
I
just go
I
away.
thought they would be
They're not
lower.
fun.
I thought they would
Look
be
at their
lower.
goal differential. What do you like? Look at the different. Like, look at this. Right, Senators 2 points behind Tampa Bay. Look at the difference in the goal differential. 37-7,
And then Pittsburgh.
and then Pittsburgh 1 point out, and they have a -23.
That's insane.
And then the now we got to start talking about maybe the Blue Jackets could miraculously make don't even. I'm not going there yet, although I want to.
This race is going to get interesting. Matthews is out again. Who knows what's happening there? Florida can't put it together. Boston is kind of putting it together. I think it.
I don't believe in
Listen,
Boston. I'm sorry. I don't.
I'm going to say this. I think the path for the Devils. I think they're for me favorites.
This
going
is a
into the
year.
playoffs.
This is a year. Yeah, I'm not trying to think about that right now, but like, this is a year where you feel like from the Devils' perspective, like it's open.
It's
door is open.
wide open.
It's
now.
wide open, and you're playing at a really good level.
Well,
right
because
now.
think about it. If you take control of the number 1 seed in the Metro, right?
I don't want to play the Senators.
Well, I would.
No.
you kidding me?
The reason I don't is because
Why not?
I don't know. I just get bad. Maybe it's because I've been hurt so many times by the Devils over the last decade that I'm just waiting for something to go wrong.
I'll say this though, because I know you're a Devils show and all that. I think the Devils are the favorites in the East. You've got the goaltending.
DraftKings doesn't feel that way.
I know DraftKings doesn't feel that way.
DraftKings don't feel that way. The power rankings don't feel that way. Nobody feels that way, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because we've played more games than everybody else that's like not fair.
The deadline's going to be more interesting than last year, I think, this year.
I'll tell you this, from a Devils perspective, don't expect the Devils to try to find depth scoring at the deadline. So like they're not going to make a big move.
No.
I wouldn't say that.
No,
I
you
would
can't
say
make a
like
big move.
I'll give you an example. They go out and get like Kyle Palmieri or like Taylor Hall or somebody at the deadline.
Right.
Why? Because they need more goal scoring. I'll tell you this. I take Brock Nelson as a third line center.
He's going to go for sure. And
he's
gonna
going for sure.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's gone. Because the Islanders can't figure it out.
Okay, so what are those 5 wild cards right there that you have on this screen? Who do you feel like are the 2 most likeliest teams that are going to finish 1 and 2?
I think the Lightning find a way. I hate to say it.
Do.
They always do. I think their
Always do.
veteran leadership finds a way to get in for some reason. I like Ottawa, man. I like the 1-2 that you have here. I think
Ottawa.
I can't see it. Like, look at Pittsburgh. You're
Pittsburgh
500. Pittsburgh's a 500 team, right? Eventually, it's going to fall off. Columbus, thanks for showing
I'm just saying with Columbus, I'm just saying, it's there.
It's been a great year for Columbus. With everything that's happened this year, it's been great. But, when push comes to shove in the dog days of, January, February, and March, I think they fall out. I think Philly probably falls out too.
Dog days. What is this, baseball?
Yes.
Dog days. Summer.
I think the teams that you see in there right now, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
The one team I can't believe that is not on here is the New York Rangers. Look how far they have fallen off.
They are on the verge of, oh my God,
Friggin' anarchy is what it is.
it's awesome. But knowing the NHL, if the Rangers finish towards the bottom, they'll rig it and they'll get the first overall pick, and it'll be.
Well, listen, like,
You
you know,
gotta
it's gonna be, we're gonna have a fun time doing deadline live stream this year again.
Deadline live stream is going to be interesting.
This year's going to be a lot of fun. Last year was a lot of fun. I'm excited to do it again this year. A lot of great stuff coming up. So we're hoping to do the live game tomorrow, US and Canada. We'll have the Winter Classic, I think, ready for you guys, I believe, too. We'll have the gold medal game for everybody, too, as well in the World Juniors. We have Four Nations coming up next year. Should be a lot of fun.
Next year, like really, like 2 months, if that.
Well, 2 days.
Whoopee.
That's going to wrap it up.
When is the Four Nations anyway? Late February?
Mid to late February, yeah.
Mid to late February.
Mid to late February.
I mean, what is it, like 9 days off? So like 9, 10?
About a week and a half, I think it is. About a week and a half, yeah.
I'm telling you, that's going to be really interesting. Where do teams go? Like, where are teams at after that break?
A lot of hockey to be played, though. A lot of hockey in January.
Is there an All-Star game? Why do I feel like there's not an All-Star game?
No,
there
no All-Star game. No All-Star game. Four Nations, and that's the way it should be. Four Nations tournament, come February, come hell or high water.
Yeah, and then can we expand it to not just Four Nations, please?
The All-Star game should just be dead at this point. Nobody cares about the All-Star game anymore.
Nobody cares, except the jerseys, which are bad anyway.
Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today, and we will be back on Thursday. We're going to recap the Vancouver game that happens tomorrow night. We'll get you guys ready for Thursday as they take on Utah, and I hope everybody had a fantastic 2024, and we'll see.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't be that guy.
We'll see everybody on Thursday.
Thank you.
In 2025. Have a good day, everybody. We'll see you all on Thursday.
Happy holidays. Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a happy holiday.